Westworld!
Westworld. The premiere of the show I thought was really strong.
Really good, yeah.
The music was fantastic.
Yeah,
Every time there was
Radiohead
like
song.
Yeah, Creep played or like Painted Black played, and you're like,
that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
That got me on board. I think that's why I stayed on for the 8 episodes. I was just like, ooh, what's the player piano guy?
Yeah, once you watch an episode, you have to watch all of them, even if it's terrible.
Particularly this kind of television, which is the J.J. Abrams style of storytelling where they just randomly withhold information.
Mystery box.
It's a mystery box.
But not really.
The maze.
Right, it's not a mystery box, it's a gift that you get at the very beginning. A puzzle, but like a bunch of pieces are missing. Every few episodes, someone's like, oh, by the way, here you go. Now you can finish your puzzle.
The first reveal is that Bernard is a robot.
Sure.
And they do that by having him go into the cabin with the Danish lady.
Right, he kills her.
Like, she says there's a door here, and he's like,
What door?
and we know at that point the robots are programmed to not see things that challenges their worldview. But then they stretch it out to be like, she walks downstairs and finds these schematics, and it's like they really linger on her being like,
yeah.
Doesn't look like anything to me.
The next big reveal is that Bernard is Arnold, and they draw that out into like a 10-minute sequence.
The mystery of like who's Arnold for the entire season, basically. I'm hearing this voice, and we're mentioning Arnold. Who is it? And then you're not in the middle of a scene, and suddenly like, oh, reveal, you're Arnold. It's in this scene we're going to talk about who Arnold is. Bernard, would you have anything to like? So you're setting it up in the same way, like with Billy and the Man in Black. The big reveal of the Man in Black. That's about a 10-minute sequence, and it starts with,
I knew a guest named William too.
let me tell you a story that only Billy would know.
Yeah, right.
You know that she remembers stuff.
It's only
She's been remembering stuff this whole time.
You watched it when she first started remembering stuff.
Anyway.
Like that transition was like,
He puts on his hat.
that's neat in theory if you don't have 10 minutes beforehand.
Right.
I really ought to thank you, Dolores.
Well, there was a small chance it was Logan, but also he had tied Logan to the back of his horse the same way he tied Lawrence, to the back of the horse, and I thought that was also the reveal that we were supposed to put together.
Like, they keep giving Ed Harris, like, his mission when he starts out is like, I gotta find the center of the maze. So it starts out with him scalping that guy, and he's got a map on the back. Turns out that map's totally irrelevant. Why would it be printed on the underside of every robot scalp? What he needs to get to the center of the maze keeps changing. By the time we get to the end of it, it's clear they were just adding more steps for him to just stretch a storyline. Because at first it's gotta find Clifton Collins Jr. It's like, no, then I gotta find a lady with a tattoo on her face.
And spoiler alert, he doesn't need to find any of these
He doesn't
people.
need any of that shit. He just needs Dolores, who he started with.
But even then, he didn't need Dolores. All he needed to do was show up at the reveal of Ford's new narrative. Like, he could have just like been at home for weeks and been like, oh, he's revealing that thing, I better put on my tux and go.
Yeah.
And then he'd get shot.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, ooh, I'm glad
That's like my favorite part of the finale was when Ed Harris gets shot. He's like, fuck yeah! Let's do this!
That's a good moment for that character, and that makes sense. And now that I have all of the information about what's going on, now I can be satisfied by these things.
Enjoy the story. Okay, so as a whole, Thandie Newton's whole character, the Maeve character, good actress. She's always really good. She's very strong in this show. As soon as she gets to these two fucking yahoos, Felix and Sylvester, who are both named after cartoon cats for whatever reason.
You're right, these two unbelievable characters. One who's like, maybe I'll like try to get a promotion or like put an application for this, and the guy's like, you're not gonna do that. You're a butcher. You always been a butcher. You'll always be a butcher.
They don't act like humans.
No, they don't.
They'll always be butchers because they don't act like
Because they're probably robots.
They're not smart enough.
At least once an episode, I would just think like, okay, but just like go tell your boss.
Right.
Yeah.
So he did look at his hands, and she did say, you're not a robot, you're a human being. And that's all well and good. But we find out later that she's been programmed to do all of these things. It's part of her narrative to escape, to do this, to do that. So it's completely plausible that part of her narrative is that she sees that Bernard is a robot, but these two guys, she doesn't see that.
How many times can you do the same reveal of like, and they're a robot, and they're a robot,
They can do
How many seasons you got, Bridget? How many seasons?
They can do it forever. When they revealed that Bernard was a robot, they can now do this whenever they want to.
But like, that's a fine trick to have in your bag of tricks if you're writing a show. So we want to talk about the security system real quick in the park, which is
lack thereof. Am I right?
Terrible.
Right?
Yeah.
They have characters that disappear, but they also have a giant map of the park that tracks everybody.
They have to track everyone all the time, and we're told there's like 1,000 guests there. The whole work floor is glass for the explicit reason so nobody can be doing anything untoward or sneaky. The Elsie character goes up to a creepy sex monster and is like, you're gonna let me get this codes that I want because I have video of you f***ing this robot. And then like in the last episode, he's just on the floor, on the work floor, just jerking it while he's feeling up Hector's
the
pecs.
first time. Oh, I don't get fired for this? Sure.
I do want to add a positive note. That scene with Teddy and Dolores on the beach was really effective, I thought.
That's really good.
That's a good example, I think, what we're in store for in the future seasons. Because that was, here's this scene, now we're going to change the context. It's actually this. Isn't that a reveal? As opposed to, there's a history that you don't know, and what's it going to be?
The maze.
In regards to Samurai World, so in the original film, Westworld, there was Westworld, there was Rome World, and there was Medieval World. There was no Samurai World.
No.
So there's going to be tons of these places.
Hope so.
Maeve has a piece of paper. Her daughter's in
Park
Park
one.
1. How many parks you got?
We could still see Caveman World.
Yeah.
I mean, she had that whole line about.
They say that great beasts once roamed this world, as big as mountains.
We had Jurassic Park.
Hey, Michael Crichton. So series overview. Good pilot.
Good pilot. Good finale.
Middle
just
part's bullshit.
There were some
Whole lot of bullshit.
parts in the middle that I liked. I think it's just a symptom of it being a mystery, even though it's not. By the end of this season, you know everything you need to know.
A 10-episode like prologue, basically.
But I will say it gives me a lot of hope for next season.
Right,
Because this show, William turned into the Man in Black, and this whole history of the park, they've taken all of the pieces out and told it in this weird sort of convoluted, mismatched way. But now it's done. So now it's at the point where, okay, we're in the present. We know basically everything we need to know, aside from the fact that there's probably Space World and Sea World and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also now most of the characters can make choices, where you see characters want things, make choices to get them, and fail or succeed.
There was a tragedy that happened at Westworld. Like, we're not gonna get over the massacre that happened.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
We shut it down. A bunch of robots murdered people.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
been our nightmare forever.
Are you saying that that's a bad thing, though?
No.
Because that's
robots murdered.
well, I mean, that's a bad thing.
I take
But like,
that
that's really, really cool for the future of the show, because then you can say like, oh, well, what's gonna happen? I don't know, maybe. I mean, the park is shut down. Everyone that's in the park
It
now
has to be.
is there.
It's the
so there are humans, and then there are robots, and now we're at war, basically.
Right,
and then you also have, the military's
And
going to
that
find
is-
out about it, and they're going to come in.
You're right, and that is Jurassic Park, essentially.
Right.
So season 2, we got all that out of our system. Hopefully, no more mysteries.
Season
We're
2
just
I'm very excited about,
Just going to be
actually.
watching these robots try to live on the island while there's also humans trapped on the island with them.
Yeah.
The military might come in. We might see them bleed into Samurai World.
Space World.
Or Space World. Or
Dinosaur World.
Sex World.
Sex World.
It
It's
is
already
It's
Sex
already
World.
Sex World.
Waterworld World.
Rollerball World. There's just a...
Ooh, I like that.
Hey guys, please come out to UCB Sunset to see the next live Cracked podcast. It's going to be December 10th, and we're going to be doing our Year in Review ep. We're calling it the Year in Review in Review. What does that mean? I actually legitimately don't know yet, but I'm going to figure it out before then, and it's going to be awesome. Hope to see you there.